And thank you for joining us on day one of TIA's Network of the Future conference right here in Dallas, Texas. Joining us in the Dell TI Now studio is Masoud Vaziri, CEO of I2I. Also in our studio is James Harris. He's the Chief Scientific Officer of Vatex. And Richard Platt, CTO of Netsocket. And gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Abe.
Thanks for being here. Richard of Netsocket came in first place in the Disruptors competition. Very well done. We'll get to that in just a moment. Jim, thanks for being with us. You're with Vatex. Very interesting stuff. And Masoud, really an interesting application and technology that you were talking about as well. Appreciate your time and being here.
Thank you.
I want to get a quick 20-second elevator pitch of each one of your companies, and Richard, I'll start with you.
Okay, so we make a product line called the Virtual Edge for Business. We're moving the cloud all the way out to the edge and taking care of network functions and applications for SMBs and enterprises.
Jim?
Vatex is developing a system called Vatex. The intent is to reduce prescription drug abuse, trafficking, and misuse. The problem is a declared national emergency by CDC.
Masoud?
iPal is a wearable computer and smart pair of glasses. It turns your eyes into your own camera. You can take pictures with your eyes, record video, broadcast what you see. And iPal is also a platform for next generation personal assistant.
Richard, I want to start the discussion with you. I want to find out, well, actually, I want to get a use case from you for SDN technology. We talk in theory about the applications for software-defined networking and also network functions virtualization to optimize our networks, optimize our services, optimize the end product for the end user, right? But we don't actually have a use case or a plethora of use cases. But you came up with one and you illustrated it great on stage just earlier. Can you describe that for us?
Sure. So Abe, you know, if you look at what SDN and NFV have been about so far, it's always been the cloud and the data center. We've concluded that there's a big problem out in that SMB space, and we also feel that it's the easiest place to disrupt. So what we've done is we've focused on that. We've moved the cloud all the way out there, and those networking functions, those applications, some of them belong at the edge, and a case in point is security. You know, we talk about moving everything in the cloud. Well, sometimes you need to move the cloud out to the edge, and security is a great place because you want that to be as close as you can to the user. So take a dentist office who has lots of records, and they have a great need for security. They have a network need that they have, and especially if they have multiple offices or they're trying to connect them together and keep the records connected together. So moving NFV out to that edge is disruptive. We replace those big routers. In fact, I brought one with me here. Those big routers with just a small one, okay? And we virtualized that. We moved applications out there, networking out there, and the control up in the cloud, just what SDN is.
Masoud, you said that iPal, a product of I2I, allows the user to see through the eyes of the wearer. I know you didn't have much time on stage to explain how that works. Can you explain that to us now?
So iPal has eye tracking and gaze tracking technology. With eye tracking, we are tracking both of your eyes. We know exactly what you are looking at. And then we have two cameras that we call them scene cameras. They can see the same thing that your eyes can see. So we use these eye trackers so those other cameras can follow your eye movement. The value that you get out of this is you don't have to use your phone and point it and split your attention between becoming a cameraman and recording the scene. If your eyes are your camera, then taking 2 hours of video would be as easy as taking a single picture. And what we are doing with iPal, you can use eye gestures to do all these things. You can turn on the device, turn off, share it on Instagram, anywhere else, without lifting a finger. And again, the nice thing is the camera follows your eyes. Your eyes are your camera. So this is the starting application that we are looking at. If you look at Instagram, Facebook, lots of things that people share are images. Video is hard. you have to be physically and mentally involved during the recording process. That's why people don't record much. Now, if we make your eyes as to be your camera, first of all, you will not miss any unexpected moment. And anything that you see, you can take a picture without distracting others.
I'm going to get to you in just a moment. I appreciate that. I'm going to move to Jim just because, for the sake of time. Jim, one of the judges, when they were deliberating, or after the deliberation, and they came to a decision, said that Vatex is drug analysis through big data. Is that correct? Is that accurate?
So it's behavioral analysis of patients receiving controlled substances. Yeah, it's definitely a big data healthcare analytics potential solution. Of course, we have to prove that it works.
Richard, any reticence of users or your customers or your potential customers using a cloud managed service provider for your application, for your product?
So first off, it's not potential anymore. We actually have real customers. Now, we just introduced it, but we have not seen one bit of reticence. And the reason for that is that there's a whole cost infrastructure, but there's so much churn and change in the SMB industry that it's easy to introduce this technology. It's easy when you add new sites, it's easy when a new business starts up, and it's easy for remote offices and enterprises.
Masood, I did want to get back to you. I wanted to find out what differentiates you between the iPal application and a product like Google Glass. What can you do that they cannot?
Well, when it comes to imaging, Google Glass cannot do any of the things that we do. Our camera follows your eye movement. In Google Glass, the camera, you have to control it with your head movement and neck movement. And with all the hardware that they have put on the glass, you might have heard the words like glass hole that people are using. The fact that your eyes are focused on a screen up there and you use your fingers to control these things, it isolates you from the audience, and it puts people in a kind of defensive mode. And that's why you see words like glass hole out there. Google has been issuing like 2 press releases telling Google Glass users how to use this so you will not be called a glass hole. And what we have done, our focus has been on, we say anything wearable has to be evaluated with other wearable devices, like a shirt. They should be customizable. They should look nice on you. And you cannot put a big battery on somebody's face and expect them to wear it wherever they go.
Jim, I want to ask you about data security and privacy. There have been a number of panels just today talking about that very topic. Are there any data security or privacy laws or rules or recommendations, quote unquote, that you have to deeply consider when you're launching a technology that you presented earlier?
So privacy and security is core to the way we think. A bit of background that you need to know to understand this space is that all states already collect, using names, all prescription records for controlled substances. Who wrote the prescription, who received it, who filled it, etc. So the states already have named records. And it's because the problem is so severe. Our cloud is nameless. It would take a little while to explain how we get away with that, but we assume that because an industry is gaming the medical system to collect pills to sell, that we will be attacked as vigorously as banks. So we want to make sure that our cloud and our data transfers have no names or personally identifiable data. And we found some very robust ways of doing that.
Richard, in your brochure, it says that your product is a virtual edge product. That's actually the name of it. Is that correct?
Yes.
What makes it an edge product?
So when we use the term edge, we're referring to the fact that it's not in the core, it's not in the cloud, it's out at the edge of that network, and it traverses the internet. You brought up security. NFV in the core, we believe, is a lot simpler than NFV at the edge, because you're traversing the world's most unsecure network with the worst latency and the the biggest unknown problems. So edge it's hard to solve, but it is desperately needed.
Masood, I just wanted to get your assessment of the Disruptors competition and I guess the climate and the feel of the competition, and what you think we could do differently next year, maybe.
I think if we have more time to present, that would be useful, because not everybody in the audience knew what we were presenting, and the fact to also give them opportunity to ask questions, that would make it more fruitful.
Jim?
I actually agree that audience participation, maybe a minute to 2 minutes after each, would liven things up a lot.
Yeah, a Q&A of sorts? Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
directly after each
Okay.
pitch.
Richard?
I actually love that it was 5 minutes. I think that forces us to narrow in our message to a really short period of time. However, I do agree that the Q&A, if you could have a 1 minute Q&A afterwards, that would be great. Just a little interaction with the audience.
Well, we thought it was a great way to finish the day. A lot of panels, a lot of discussions. There was a lot of networking going on, and it was refreshing to see you guys up on stage and doing your thing. Richard, we appreciated the way you did that. Thank you very much again to all of you, and we hope to see you next year.
Thank you.
Thanks again, and thank you for joining our coverage of TIA's Network of the Future conference. The Dell TIA Now studio will be streaming live throughout the conference. You can view our live stream and all of our programming at tianow.org. So long.